Welcome to Radio Storytime on CPL Radio. Hi, I'm Mrs. K.
And I'm Miss Heidi.
Summer is here and it's time to get outside and have an adventure. The great thing about outdoor adventures is that they are limitless. You are in charge of your adventure.
Swimming, biking, hiking, fishing, and camping are just a few ways to have your own outdoor adventure. Mrs. K, what is your favorite outdoor adventure?
I enjoy visiting gardens and looking at all the beautiful flowers and plants. Do you have a favorite outdoor adventure?
I do. I enjoy camping and hiking, but when I was younger, I really enjoyed searching for and catching fireflies.
Ooh. Outdoor adventures during the summer are a wonderful way to spend time with family and friends. If you aren't the adventurous type, you can still go on an adventure anytime.
How's that?
By reading or listening to books or stories.
Well, then let's get started with our Storytime adventure. Enjoy today's selections.
Up the Creek by Nicholas Oland, read by Mrs. K. Once there was a bear, a moose, and a beaver who were best of friends, though they often disagreed. One sunny day, the bear, the moose, and the beaver decided to go canoeing. The moose wanted to steer, but so did the bear and the beaver. They all sat in the stern. With so much weight in the back of the canoe, it tipped, and they ended up in the water. So they played eeny, meeny, miny, moe, and it was decided that the moose would steer. They all settled back into the canoe and began to paddle. The bear insisted on paddling port side, but the beaver and the moose also preferred the left. With everybody paddling in the same direction, they traveled in circles. Soon their arms grew tired, so they began to switch sides. That's when they finally started to travel in a straight line. But just as they began to make progress, they came to a stop at a beaver dam. They all had different ideas on how to get across. The beaver wanted to push the canoe, but that didn't work. The moose thought you could pull the canoe, but that didn't work either. Fortunately, the bear figured out the only way to cross was to portage, which is carrying the canoe above your head. Back in the water, the bear, the moose, and the beaver settled into a rhythm and started to really enjoy paddling along the river. But it wasn't long before they began to argue. They argued so loudly that they didn't notice the current growing stronger or the quiet rumbling in the distance. Until it was too late. The river had turned into a wild whitewater rapids. Ah! They shouted. Thrown sideways, underwater, through the air, and everywhere, the bear, the moose, and the beaver held on for their lives. Exhausted, bruised, and wet, the three friends landed on a rock in the middle of the rapids. The moose wanted to burn the canoe to make a fire signal. The bear wanted to throw the beaver to shore to get help. The beaver figured swimming to shore would be safer. They argued over whose plan was best well into the night. The next morning, it dawned on the bear, the moose, and the beaver that they would all have to work together to make it home safely. We can do it, they said. So they climbed back into their battered canoe, took a deep breath, and ran the rapids. They twisted, leaped, crashed, and blasted through the water. The rapids were fierce, but the bear's powerful strokes and the moose's steady hoof and the beaver's clever commands, they all set a true, clear course. At last, the bear, the moose, and the beaver made it to shore. After a much-needed nap, the bear, the moose, and the beaver worked together to repair their canoe and paddles, catch some fish, cook some lunch. But they tucked into their meal. They all gave thanks for the wildest adventure they had ever had. Rested and relaxed, the bear, the moose, and the beaver were ready to set out for home. After a long look at the raging rapids, they decided to walk. And who would disagree with them?
I think that story was based on my own family adventure experiences.
Let's take a small break and hear a word from our sponsor.
This is Miss Heidi from the Youth Services Department at CPL to tell you about what's happening in the library. Summer reading has begun and we have lots of fun programs planned. Join Mrs. K and myself most Mondays at Centennial Park at 10 a.m. for Storytime. This is a drop-in program, so pack up the kids and come on out. Mrs. K, what else do we have going on?
Well, on June 28th at 10 o'clock, we have Camp Doodlebug going on in the community room. This is an art program for ages 2 to 5. Registration is required. There's still a lot of seats open at this time. You can sign up online, on our website, or at the children's desk. You can see all the other programs we have going on this summer on our online events calendar, or stop in the library and pick up the latest copy of Library Links. Now back to our program. Miss Heidi, should we continue our Storytime adventure?
Absolutely. Put your hiking boots on. Things are about to get wild. Explorers of the Wild by Cale Atkinson. Read by Miss Heidi. I love to explore. It's my favorite thing to do. There are so many neat things to see, like over there, and so many strange things to find, like under here. My parents tell me to be careful. They say you never know what you'll run into in the wild. I say I'm an explorer, and explorers are prepared for anything. So I climb over trees, I roll down hills, I run and I run until one day I ran right into a bear. I was scared at first. I was really scared. But then I saw we were both explorers. Together, we found things to touch, things to see, things to hear, and even things to taste. Well, kind of. Ugh. No discovery was too small to share, and no mountain was too big to conquer. This was our day. This was our adventure. We were kings of the wild. I didn't want it to end, but I had to go home. So I took a picture to always remember the greatest explorer I ever met.
No mountain is too tall if you have a friend by your side to climb it, right, Miss Heidi?
That's right.
I'm Mrs. K.
And I'm Miss Heidi.
See you next time.